Okay, so this is how you will use ChatGPT moving forward to get you an amazing speech. The worst way to use ChatGPT is to just say to ChatGPT, prompt it by saying, help me write a 30-minute speech on this topic. You're going to get a really mediocre outcome, and there is no reason for you to speak that kind of a speech. What is the best way? Let's learn step by step. Last week, I helped a client write a 30-minute speech on the topic of the future of workplace. I first did thinking, then used a specific way to use ChatGPT and generated a speech which got her a standing ovation, and people found it really practical. I want you to know exactly how I did it. Let's start. Before even you open ChatGPT, take a pen and a paper, or maybe just open a screen on your computer and write down the following: opening, closing. The top opening, at the bottom closing. Then after opening, you will write down your unique point of view. Your unique point of view. What is your unique point of view on this topic? People don't expect you to research and say the same things that they've heard 100 times. The reason why you are giving a speech is because you have something different to say. So your unique point of view, and then 3 key insights. 1, 2, 3. 3 key insights. 1, 2, 3. Put the bullet points, and then that's it. So let's revise one more time. Opening, your unique point of view, 3 key insights, 1, 2, 3, and you've got closing. So you've got a template ready. Now let's fill this template. Now when you're filling this template, you don't have to think about perfection of language. All you need to do is to really just jot down your thoughts, your key points. In terms of opening, I want you to think about, what is it that I can really get audience's attention? Something very unique, something very different. Our upcoming videos, we will be doing one video just on unique ways to open. But in this case, for the future of workplace, I'll tell you how I did the opening for the client, which was a very special way. So we start off with a quote by William Gibson, which says that the future is already here, just not evenly distributed. The topic is future of the workplace. So I pick up a quote called, the future is already here, just not evenly distributed, which essentially means that if you're based in India, what you're wanting to do in the future has already happened perhaps in the United States. It's just a matter of you bringing it down. So if you're curious and you want to learn what's happening in the United States, you can predict what your future would be watching, observing what's happening in the United States. So you establish and you say that William Gibson gave us one of the most memorable quotes on future, which is, the future is already here, just not evenly distributed. You start like that and you explain what that means. And then you say, so if we are saying that we can predict the future, but if we look at the ground reality, now here's where I'm twisting it. Look at the ground reality, things that moved our world the most. Example, COVID-19. Example, the tariffs issue that just took place. Example, the India-Pakistan tension. None of the forecaster actually had that on their outlook. Nobody had predicted these things, and yet they really shook our world. So the point is that this whole faith in that future is already here, just not evenly distributed, is not entirely true, because the big things we can never really predict. So the question is, if we can't predict what's going to happen in the future, then how can we be future ready? Because we're talking about the future ready workplace. So I'll be giving you more examples of unique ways to open in the upcoming videos, but this is how we did it. So your opening has to be extremely unique and gravitating and thought-provoking. You've got the opening in place. Now the question is, what is your unique point of view? Now in this case, the speaker has had 30 years of experience in her industry in HR. So she says that in my 30 years of experience, which I have turned into a 30-minute lesson for you, I can say to you that learning is your gateway to future. Learning is your gateway to future. If you learn, you can be future ready and be relevant in future. That's your point of view. However, the question is, learn what? Learn from where? And learn how? So there are so many things to learn. How shall I learn, right? This is where she brings in an amazing story. We bring in an amazing story for the speaker, and we say that in an interview, Jeff Bezos, who heads Amazon, once said that a lot of people ask me, so what's going to change in the future? What's going to change in the future? I think a better question to ask is what is not going to change in future, and put your bet on that. To which he said, the fact that Amazon customers will always want lower prices, faster delivery, and variety of items on the platform is never going to change. So I'm going to invest in that. So she said that if learning is your gateway to future, then the question to ask is, what is it that is not going to change in future? And that's what I'm going to learn. So you have now made your unique point of view. So you've got your amazing opening, you've got unique point of view that being future ready means being learning, but learning things that are not going to change in the future. With me so far? Okay, brilliant. Now we come to the 3 points, the 3 unique points. If you are giving a talk about your topic, for example, the topic here is the future ready workplace, you think about the 3 things now that are not going to change in future, right? No matter what happens, they are there. Like for Amazon, faster delivery, lower prices, and variety of items is always going to be there, right? So now, in this case, we wrote the 3 things that are not going to change about HR is that in the future, there will be no such thing as a HR professional. It is definite that everyone will be a HR tech narrator. Means you will need to know enough about technology and be enough of a narrator to be able to drive the change. The second thing we said was what is not going to change in future is the fact that everyone at workplace will need a specialist working in the organization who will manage the workplace's well-being. And then the third thing we said is that at workplace, purpose will play a very big role. What is the organization's purpose? It will play a very big role. Okay, now I've got these 3 points. I'm saying that these are the things that will not change in the future. Therefore, I will invest in these 3 things. Now let's get into each one of them. But before that, quick revision. You've got the opening, William Gibson's quote, and understanding that everything that has changed our world was actually unpredictable. Then we came to my unique point of view that learning is what will make you future ready, but learning about things that are not going to change, which we established with the Jeff Bezos' example. Then we go into the 3 unique point of views that you have. And we said, in this case, the 3 things that will not change is that there'll be no such thing as HR. There will be a HR tech narrator. Then we said that every workplace will need to have proper well-being and every workplace will need to have purpose. Now let's come to these 3 things. And here we added stories and information that will bring these 3 things to life. So very briefly, I'll give you examples. So in HR tech narrator, I gave examples of how in this company, HR people have driven IT and information related solutions. My dog is in a mood of singing today for you. So I hope you can hear me well and it's not too loud. You give some examples of how HR needs to understand generative AI, HR needs to understand artificial intelligence, HR needs to understand business intelligence. Don't just say those things, give examples. For example, in this case, we gave an example of how the HR team created these bots within the organization that was able to digest all the new policies and any questions related to the new policies or any policy within the organization, the bot was able to answer. But it was not the IT team, the HR team that led that project. So HR team was the citizen developers, right? They don't know coding as such, but they know enough about technology and then the ability to be able to storytell. So the HR team can look at the data of the people who work, but what they find from it and how do they make a change happen. They should be all storytellers and narrators. So that's how the first section. The second section about well-being, we brought in stories and evidence from outside of the world. We said if you look at a graph, it's called the Teller's graph, you can see that the human adaptability and the rate of the technology, the pace at which a human learns and the pace of which the technology increases is just really shocking because we cannot keep up with the pace of the advancement of technology. Human adaptability is lowering, the pace at which we can learn is lowering, and technology is advancing. which means that if we just keep telling our people, learn, 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 learn all the time, they will be left with no mental stamina, because things are changing all the time. And if there is no mental stamina, then according to Yuval Noah Harari, an amazing historian and author, we are saying by 2050, we'll have a class of people called useless. Not because they don't know how to do the work, but because they have absolutely no mental stamina. And then we make a case for having well-being as an established thing. And then we say that it is really important that we have well-being, because the way technology is advancing, it is a great proposition of productivity and efficiency. But the human brilliance is still the more important thing. The humanity, the deep thinking, the ability to be able to kind of, think through things really well. For example, we are first thinking the speech before we are generating the speech. So you give some examples from that. Let's come to the last part, the purpose part. So every workplace needs to have a purpose. So herein we start off by giving a story by Adam Grant, where he ran this purpose experiment, where when people know why they come to work every day, their motivation levels are much, much higher. For example, a technology company says, we make memory, that storage memory that actually goes into the devices. But actually what we're doing is we're helping Google predict the severity of floods and where all floods can take place in India. And if people know that, then their motivation levels are much higher. But why is that? Because every time an organization has a clear purpose, people are able to live the identity that they want. They want to be those kinds of people. So in essence, we give lots of examples and stories to bring those 3 points to life. Now we've done that, you give a closing. I love interactive closing. You've literally given people a little manual of how to be future ready. The last thing we did here was to ask people to use their phones. We gave them a QR code and we said that we've shared all of this with you. Now you tell us what is the first thing you're going to do to make yourself and your organization future ready. And then they all poll, and then the responses come up. And in the end, we just say one line. We say, welcome to your very first step in being future ready by identifying where you need to start. So that is how you build your thinking part. Now, how do you use ChatGPT? So you remember all these things we've actually just scribbled down. We've just literally written these things down. We haven't yet put it into ChatGPT. Now, perfection of putting all of this together comes by putting it into ChatGPT. For that, please watch the next video. In the next video, I will share with you, after all your thoughts are on the paper or typed, how do I now use ChatGPT to beautifully put every word together for me? Stay storied, and I'll see you for the next one.